to the View. Hey, y'all. I'm shocked and surprised that any of us are actually sitting here with our eyes open.
This audience showed up.
Yes. They stood in the rain.
Take my rain boots off. It is too wet.
But everybody, when I came, because I was drenched by the rain, when I walked by, everybody had their umbrella. You were all in the pouring rain. God bless you.
Whoopi started to tell you why before I interrupted.
That's all right, but they know why, because last night was insane. Weather across the nation was crazy last night, as we saw in all the weather channels and all the weather reports. But here in New York City, the weather was... My cat, we got a crack of thunder.
Oh, yeah?
He popped up... I mean, and he was ready to fight with whatever he could find. And then the lightning hit, and I thought, what the hell is going on out there?
I didn't know until I had both kids in the bed with us.
It was crazy.
Oh my God,
that was thunder. I thought that was Steve snoring.
You know what happened? It lit up, and I remember Jeffrey ran in the room and got next to me. But whenever that happens, because I get scared, I start confessing all my sins to God. Like I do. I was laying in bed going, I'm sorry for thinking this, and I was lustful in that thought, and da-da-da. Because I just want to get right in case.
It produced the reason that we're so grateful to you is that it was the most torrential rain that I can remember in years. And I remember thinking, because by the way, Cha-Cha, whom I never mentioned, also jumped off the bed.
Yes. She didn't like the rain either.
Yes, not a very high bed.
She jumped off? She didn't stay on with you for comfort?
Cha-Cha is her dog, not a man she's sleeping with.
So she told us.
Anyway, what I wanted to say is this morning, with this awful rain, I thought, this is what Katrina must have been like. And then I felt so guilty because this was a small part of what Katrina must have been
building, a big brick building.
No, I'm talking about when I got on the street, not last night, because the rain this morning, and you people had to stand in line, and we are grateful. I think you are nuts. We're grateful.
I wish they would have let them come in.
Thank you. I'm again shocked that you guys were outside. Well, we'll just have to talk to somebody about that because at some point, we got to build something because we are grateful to the audience because you come every day, but even Noah wasn't standing for that rain today. Now on to sort of sadder, stranger conversations. The investigation into the death of David Carradine continues. Authorities in Thailand are letting the FBI help them out. And Joy, last night you sat in for Larry King, and tell me what happened. Tell us what happened.
Can I just, before you start, because maybe everybody doesn't know what the controversy is.
Okay. Well, I was going to let her
go into okay. Yeah. The controversy. David Carradine hung himself, and bound his hands and also his genitalia. So there are those who say that it is autoerotic asphyxiation, which you do because losing consciousness helps you, if you're into this,
off that oxygen
it helps you have a better orgasm. And his family is saying, some people are saying suicide, some people were saying sadomasochism, and his family is saying it may be neither, it may be kung fu extremists, but Bill Getty and I do a radio show on Sirius Radio on Monday, and yesterday Alan Alda was on with us, and I said I had never heard of autoerotic asphyxiation, and they looked at me as if I was some moron. Everybody knows what it is.
It led to about 1,000 deaths.
Did you all know what it was?
I thought it was a description of marriage, frankly.
Truth be told, though, this is actually something that affects younger men in their 20s, and a lot of the time it can lead to death. That they're thinking this could potentially be
just so I don't.
1,000 deaths is no joke.
Could you, those of you who have heard of autoerotic asphyxiation, would you applause? Those of you who did not hear until this.
Tried it. Applaud.
No, it's mostly it's not with women. It's men.
Those of you who did not know, who were as innocent as Joy and I, applaud. Those of you who do not know what it is.
A lot of people. Most people know what it is.
I never really heard of it before.
So now,
but the wife, his third wife was on the phone with me. She's said that he has also been guilty of incestuous relationship when he was alive, and that he did these things, these crazy things that would lead to this type of, and then, you know, she didn't want to give details. She was acting, she was being coy about it. I think she's got a book coming out, but then she says, oh, he was a great man, I don't want to defame him. Meanwhile, the body is not even cold. She's out there talking about the guy.
You asked her, I remember seeing you said to her, well, who was involved in this, namely incest? And she said she didn't know. She went on to agree that she does have a book. She knows, and she says, I put all this in a book, so she's probably holding out until she can make some cash on it.
This is his fourth wife
that you had the conversation with. Yeah.
The third wife has also alleged that he did this kind of behavior. Also that he would tie himself up down in the basement, she says, and while they were having a party upstairs. And he'd be down there tied up, she said, and then she'd go down and say, can I do anything for you? And he'd say, get me a sandwich. I mean, this kind of craziness.
But don't you think it's interesting that the family is torn and would almost, some reports said, rather find out that this was, you know, a sadomasochism than believe that he was depressed enough to commit suicide.
There's no responsibility then. You could say, well, he was into some wacky behavior, but it wasn't, we ruined him.
Yeah, as opposed to him being so depressed that he had to kill himself.
There is an amount of guilt that families assume whenever there is a suicide, and I think that is probably more difficult to maybe get through because it affects more than just the person who died.
Is a result of depression in a certain way. This kind of trying to find this high. It's like using drugs in a way. I don't know.
Don't you think it's interesting that they're
recreation? I mean,
that they're also trying. That they're also trying to say that he was possibly murdered because he was trying to uncover groups working in martial arts, and it had to do with extremists and kung fu. I mean, isn't that a little extreme?
Well, one thing they're saying is that the position of his hands, they were apparently tied above his body, which would be incredibly difficult to do by yourself.
Those theories with Bruce Lee as well. You know that it was a Chinese triad that might have
The truth is, we don't know. Nobody knows. And he just died Thursday. So both wives perhaps should just sit back and let the FBI and the Thai police do their job and let the family bury the man.
But you know, it's funny.
Before they start doing all of this.
Before they try to bury his name.
You know, it's so distasteful. I know it's just, I don't understand it. You know, imagine the grief of the family first before you start tearing somebody or putting all their crap out in the street like that.
But maybe you should put that in the prenup. Something like this.
What?
In other words, you don't get my money and do not discuss my little peccadillos.
But you know, but also too, these women, these are papers that they had filed in their divorce papers, so they dug this up. You know, they made it public.
A lot of this is public record, right?
Yeah, but you know, again, as we said, but people say stuff during divorce trials. I don't trust anything I read when somebody says it. I don't care because you know, here's what's great about when you're getting divorced. If you've been divorced once or twice, the first husband can say whatever he says and whatever he's doing. And then the second husband reads that and says, oh, okay, I'm going to add some stuff to that. That's why you can't only get married 2 or 3 times. We'll be right back.
Layering.
That's right, with more Hot Topics.